This is the second part of the Montessori leaf lesson. In this video, we're going to talk about parts of the leaf. We're going to talk about varieties of leaves, and then varieties of leaves depending on their functions. You can do this video in 3 sections for each lesson, or you could do them all together. So we're going to start with parts of the leaf. Leaves, like the rest of the plant body, are made up of tiny little things that look like bricks of a building. These are called cells. It is the cells that the plant makes the food. The cells of the leaf need to stay expanded so that they can get light so that they can make their food. See how this leaf is expanded? It goes all out. It is the veins that help the leaf stay expanded. They crisscross throughout the whole leaf. The veins are made of a harder material than the rest of the leaf, and they are hollow inside like pipes. And just like pipelines, they carry water from the ground. These veins carry the water up to the leaf so that the food can be made. And once the food is made, the veins carry the food back down to the other parts of the plant. The part of the leaf that is expanded is called the blade or the lamina. And we have this part right here called the petiole. The petiole helps to turn the blade. Then we have the veins. So the veins are the ones that are actually carrying it up. And then this part right here is called the stem. So you can look at leaves and the different parts, and there's so many different varieties. And you're going to find out that not all leaves look the same. So now we're going to talk about varieties of leaves. So let's look very closely at the veins of some leaves. Now we have 2 different kinds of veins. We have reticulate veins, and reticulate comes from the Latin word ret, which means net. That makes sense because reticulate veins looks like a network of veins, looks like a net. And the other leaf is different. Those leaves have parallel veins. So if we look at this, we have a leaf, and this leaf has reticulate veins. The veins go all over. Can you see that? Okay. And then when we have parallel veins, those veins go straight up and down. You can kind of see it better like that. So we have reticulate and parallel. Now, there's actually 2 different kinds of reticulate veins. Okay, we have pinnately reticulate. Pinnately comes from the Latin word pinna, meaning feather. Those veins go out straight up and down from the middle. And it looks like a feather. Then we have palmately reticulate, and that looks like the palm of your hand. So if you look at this leaf, it has one main vein that goes up and down, and everything else kind of goes from there. That's pinnately reticulate. And this one, the veins go all over, and that's palmately reticulate. They go all over like the palm of your hand. Now we have one other kind of leaf that we're going to talk about today, and that is a simple leaf and a compound leaf. Okay. A simple leaf does the work with just one leaf. One leaf does that work. And the other kind is compound, and it does its work with leaflets. So here's a simple leaf, just a regular old leaf. And then we have a compound. So this whole thing is one leaf. You can see the petiole here at the bottom. Here, this whole thing is one whole leaf. Those little parts, these little ones, are called leaflets. Okay. Now the last thing I want to talk about is different leaves, and that depends on their function. So if we look at something like a poinsettia, if you have one laying around, the poinsettia, look at the plant, look at the leaves. Some of the leaves have another job than making food. Its new job is to protect the flower bud. Those red leaves have a special name. We call them bracts. Dogwoods, calla lilies, poinsettia, bougainvillea, artichokes, gladiolas, and thistle tassel all have bricks. Now we have another plant that it has a protection from getting eaten. Sometimes plants seem to protect themselves from animals because they are good to eat. They have different ways of defending themselves. Sometimes plants have stinging cells. Stinging nettle is a plant like that. And some of them have thorns on their leaves. Protects them from getting eaten, like holly. And some plants even have bad tasting and poisonous leaves, like rhubarb. So rhubarb has beautiful, delicious, yummy parts to the plant, but the leaves are poisonous, so it tries to protect itself. Then we have plants that protect themselves from water loss. Plants have other enemies besides animals. Sometimes it's the elements. In climates with little rainfall, there's little water, so they have to protect themselves, but they do it in different ways. Some plants, like violets, have hairs on the leaves, and those hairs help to stop the loss of the water. Another one is a cactus. The cactus tries to slow the loss of the water down by reducing its leaves to thorns so that it cannot lose a lot of water. I wonder where it makes its food. Now this plant is nice and juicy. It is a succulent. You might have one at your house. Okay, the plant holds lots of water in its leaves. Now we have another plant that you may have in your yard. It is grown in a part of the world where it can be very cold and very dry, right? This plant has reduced its leaves to needles so that it doesn't give off too much water. So now for follow-ups, there's lots and lots of follow-ups you can do. You can go out. This is a perfect time to look at leaves because there's tons of leaves left on the ground from the fall. But there are also new leaves starting to come out, and you can see them. You can see how the different plants are growing and arrange themselves. You can make art projects with the different kinds of plants. You can do leaf rubbings. So that's something really easy to do. You just take a leaf and a crayon and rub on top. You can do different observations. Here's another one that you can do. You can go out and you can look at all the different leaf shapes and try to figure out what the leaf shapes are. When we did that, we went on a nature walk. And now you're not going to be able to find all of them, but you can look and you can see, oh, I found this one. Oh, I think this looks like, And then really the work here is for the child and for you to kind of negotiate and try to figure out, well, I think it has this shape and this is why. You know, having those discussions is so, so important. That's really the work. So we could do that. There's all kinds of follow-ups that you can do with leaves. You can look at the plants. You can try to classify them. Do they have parallel veins? Do they have reticulate veins? You can go around and look at the things that are in your house or in your yard. Have a wonderful day.